Welcome back to another edition of Rob Sports Center. As you can see by the title, man, yes, I'm back with another Larry Bird reaction video. So now, some of you guys that may know, I had made a video and I was stating, could legends of the past be effective in today's NBA? And I made comparisons. And Nikola Jokic was a comparison that I made that's like the modern day Larry Bird. I'm not saying he's Larry Bird, guys. I'm just saying there's similarities in their style of play. The way they play the game of basketball is more of a technical, approach. You know what I mean? I'm not just saying that because both of them are white. There's similarities in their game. So a guy made a video that I'm guessing he's going to be backing my claim on that. So I'm excited to see this video. Y'all know how I do over here, man. I don't talk y'all to death. Let's go ahead and get into the video. But first, I must have forgot. Make sure go ahead and leave a thumbs up on this video. Also, if you're new to the channel, man, make sure you subscribe. When you subscribe, click that post notification bell where you'll be notified on all things Rob Sports Center. Let's get into the video.
One thing we're told 24/7 as NBA fans is to appreciate greatness. And where I see this the most is on social media. Now, this phrase, in theory, is fantastic. But when it comes to the appreciate greatness crowd, it's a one-way street. As for a lot of these so-called NBA fans, when they say appreciate...
I was going to say, I already know. When they say appreciate greatness, they talking about today's players. 9 times 10, they probably talking about LeBron, which he deserves to be appreciated. I don't know why I'm talking so fast. Which he deserves to be appreciated, but not just Bron, but the legends of the past also deserve to be appreciated because they are who paved the way for the current day on players.
Greatness, it only applies to the modern NBA.
Watch Larry Bird try to get his game on. Watch this. Garbage. I don't want to hear nothing else about Larry Bird. Garbage.
So you mean to tell me you call a guy garbage because he get his shot blocked? I've seen LeBron get his shot blocked. Kobe blocked LeBron's shot in the game, in the All-Star game. So you call that go. So is LeBron garbage for that? I've seen LeBron get dunked on by Jason Tatum. Is LeBron garbage for that? I seen Harrison Barnes do a putback dunk on LeBron James in the finals. What is LeBron James garbage for that? Like, you know what I mean?
There are rumors who catch a lot of heat from current day NBA fans is Larry Bird. And if you watch his highlights, watch his game, just look at him as a basketball player. Doesn't really fit the bill as a great talent, just off the eye test.
But once again, like we say, I always say the same thing. He doesn't fit it as the eye test. So most people just completely write him off just off that alone. Nobody actually says, well, you know what? He don't fit it the eye test, but let me go do my own research and see if this guy is who everybody's saying he is. And when you go back, if you are a connoisseur of the sport of basketball, if you go back and you look at any of Bird highlights, it would be, in my opinion, it would be hard for you to not become a fan. Just off of looking at how he plays the game. You know what I mean? Looking at how he, the type of mentality, looking at his approach to the game, you know what I mean?
Guys like Dr. J, Dominique Wilkins, high flyers in the 80s, they fit more the bill for what a great NBA player should look like and how they should play. And despite Bird beating both those guys in the playoffs, outplaying them numerous times, Larry Bird by the eye test doesn't get as much credit as he deserves. As looking at fans today, what they say about Bird: too slow, can't jump, slow jump shot, and couldn't play defense. Now, even back in the 80s, nearly 40 years ago, people said the exact same thing about Bird in his prime. But looking at today's era, in the pace and space era, 35, 43s per game, Larry Bird's skill set quite literally is built for the modern NBA. And what we're currently witnessing in Nikola Jokic is a slower and, quite frankly, fatter version of Larry Bird. When this year concludes, Jokic, he could have 2 championships and 3 MVPs.
And guys, I will say this too. The thing about Jokic, I was one of those people that wasn't sold on him either. Jokic earned my respect last year in the finals. I didn't really watch him the whole playoffs. I didn't watch him up into the finals. But looking at how I watched Miami sitting like, man, Miami was in several different defenses trying to figure out some type of game plan they could put together to combat the Jokic effect, and none of it worked. He was able to adjust to everything that they was doing. And like I say, once again, he's like another Bird. He said he doesn't have to score for him to be effective. A lot of his effectiveness can come from him just facilitating. So they could be winning by 10 or 20 points, and he only have maybe 5 of those points, and all the other points he got was from facilitating. And some of them might have been direct assists. Some of them might have been making the right pass that leads to the assist, the hockey assist. And that right there is ways that Bird affected the game. You hear Michael Cooper speak about it. And that's the reason why I make those comparisons. And technically, the stuff they say about Bird being too slow, unathletic, that's Jokic in modern days basketball, in our NBA today.
In 4 seasons. I mean, that is total domination by a guy who is even a top 100 athlete in today's era. And looking at Jokic's overall game, the passing, playmaking, scoring, how efficient he is while not being a great athlete, it debunks numerous narratives used against Larry Bird. As one thing I hear all the time is that current day players are, quote, bigger, faster, and stronger. Now, Jokic himself just this year has debunked that narrative. As versus the Lakers in 3 games, playing Anthony Davis, an elite athlete, crazy wingspan, lateral quickness, 29 points, 12 boards, 9 assists on 58% shooting. If you were playing NBA 2K, when you build the perfect defender, Anthony Davis is the guy you would build. But even AD, being AD, still gets embarrassed by Jokic, who isn't half the athlete Larry Bird was in his prime. And just kind of speaking in generalities, when it comes to basketball, this game since day one has been about skill. Yes, being athletic is important to some players, but at the end of the day, skill determines how good you are and where you rank among the best players. I mean, someone like Derrick Jones Jr.
And I was just about to say, man, if you really think about it, right, they love to say that the players today are more skilled. And it was a lady in the comments, and she commented something about, and she was saying, just because you look athletic doesn't mean that you're more skilled. And today's players, I would say probably, are they more athletic? Obviously, like I said, as the game goes on, you're gonna evolve, right? Now, skill and athleticism are completely 2 different things. So when you look at players, and there was somebody who commented on one of my videos, they were saying they would rather see players like Luka, players like Bird, players like Jokic, players that don't rely on athleticism, they rely on skill. Paul Pierce is another one that's not phenomenal, athletes, but at the end of the day, it's all about skill, and they perfected that to a T. You know what I mean? And I think, and like I say, athleticism can only take you so far, because as you get older, your body will start to decline, and it will not be able to do the things that you could once do athletically. So at some point, skill will have to get you over that hump, because you look at a lot of guys, they get here with athleticism, and from here they go down because they rely so much on athleticism that they never develop the skill. But the ones who can make the adjustments, like the Mikes, the Kobe's, those are guys who relied on athleticism early on, and as they got older and their athleticism started to decline, the skills started to take over. You start to see them, operating in a technically sound manner,
An athletic freak to throw around windmills, reverse dunks. I mean, even Derrick Jones Jr. had to reinvent himself as an actual basketball player. Because if he did, he'd be like Terrence Ferguson, a great athlete with little or no skill. And LeBron back in 2017, he spoke on this exact same topic, saying there are current players in the NBA who, quote, do not know how to play basketball.
You're telling me there are players that play in the NBA that don't, professional players that don't know their role?
I'll take it one step further. There's a lot of players in the NBA that don't know how to play basketball.
They don't, and they in the NBA do not know how to play basketball.
But they can play basketball. I know how to play basketball. They can play. There's guys on high level making millions.
That's not an all-star team right now.
I'm an all-star team.
And when it comes to the current group of NBA players, the guys in the next era, I mentioned and spoke about numerous times. This era of players, they're great athletes, but in terms of fundamental skill, severely lacking. Now, what do you blame for that? Maybe skipping college, the high school game being a joke, AAU. There's a lot of stuff you can blame for lack of development with American players. But even guys in this era who are coaching, they're seeing the exact same thing that a lot of us see. Great athletes, not great skill. And looking back at Jokic this year, he's in his 9th NBA season, which coincidentally was Larry Bird's last year in his prime in 1988. And that's one thing with
Sorry to keep pausing once again, man. I know some of y'all be like, man, we here for your reaction anyway, and thank you. Because like I say, man, it's hard for me to not chime in on stuff. But I cannot wait till I have a debate with one of those ignorant current day fans that just their vision doesn't go far back enough to the late 2000s or the early 2000s, the 90s and the 80s. The ones that, oh man, them the guys with, bro, it's like, it's a difference between athleticism and skill. That's all I'm gonna say. That's a big, big difference. You can say today's players are more athletic, but you can't say that today's players are more skilled. Because you just heard LeBron, Draymond, and I don't know whoever else was in that video just saying that there's a lot of people in the NBA who do not know how to play basketball. They rely solely on athleticism. When it comes to lobs, when it comes to flashy dunks, they can do that. But when it comes to clutch time moments when you can't drive to the rim, when you can't, and some of them like that can't even shoot free throws. So how is today's players more skilled?
It is quite sad. This guy's prime got cut short after only 9 seasons. And in terms of longevity, doesn't have that in the slightest. And when it comes to longevity, I mean, I've said it 1,000 times. ESPN, Twitter, Instagram, they're obsessed with longevity. And the stat I saw from ESPN is a typical ESPN stat, showing LeBron James having more total points than Larry Bird and Magic combined. Now, ESPN's intention for the stat was to highlight LeBron James and boost him up. But when I see this stat, I look at Larry Bird, the guy who played 9 healthy years, in comparison to LeBron James, who's played 21, and think, how did someone like Bird manage 3 championships, 3 MVPs, only 1 less than LeBron in both those categories in nearly half the time? And despite Larry Bird having less than 22,000 career points, ranking 44th on that list all time, across the NBA, young fans, old fans, all regard this guy as a top 10 player in NBA history. And why I find that so special is looking at other NBA legends regarded as top 10 players of all time.
LeBron,
We have
Kareem,
LeBron
Kobe,
James,
Duncan.
21 plus years. Kareem and Kobe played 20. Duncan and Shaq, 19. And then Hakeem, 18 seasons. I mean, the fact Bird in a decade's time won 3 championships, 3 MVPs, that is quite remarkable. And if you want to talk offensive peaks for small forwards or just players in general, Bird's all-around game was something special. The scoring, passing, efficiency, clutch time play, and impact on winning. Larry Bird checked all those boxes. And looking at the numbers, from 85 to 88, this guy, 28 points, nearly 10 boards, nearly 7 assists.
Hold on. What they say? Get out the way. What they say? From 3? But today's players are more skilled. And you had a guy who was shooting this back then when the 3-point line had just been implemented. You got guys, the 3-point line been implemented for 30-some years, and they ain't shooting it. And they're today's athletes. But they're more skilled than the legends of the past. The Birds, the Kobe's, the Birds, the Magics, the Dr. J's, the Charles Barkleys, all these people that they say the newer style players. But look at that right there. I'm just saying.
51-41 and 90 split.
I'm just saying.
And like I said earlier, Larry Bird's prime was cut short at only age 31. And during 1988, at age 31, averaged 29.9 points, the highest in his career to that point.
And it would have been back too, huh?
On Bird, those 4 years, on average, took 2.5 threes per game. Now, of course, compared to the modern day players, the modern day teams, that number is egregiously low. But looking at Bird's scoring, when he came into the NBA, many forget, he was a power forward and a double-double machine for a long, long time. And a lot of his points came at the rim, in the paint, off post-ups, and mid-range jump shots. For today's players, the mid-range game, in-between game,
It's lost
is
art.
really non-existent and a lost art.
Kawhi,
And once you
DeMar,
get past that first line of defense that is so extended past the 3, I mean, that mid-range game becomes oh so valuable. And looking at Bird's own era, guys like Kareem, Mark Eaton, Moses Malone, among others, those guys in the paint gave Larry Bird hell. And while they did, the bigs back then had no 3-second rule. I mean, that rule single-handedly changed the NBA forever. I mean, listen to Luka Doncic, a current NBA player, citing this one rule why NBA scoring is so much easier than past eras and European basketball.
You said that scoring 30 in the NBA was, hold on.
I know
You said scoring 30 in the NBA was way easier than scoring in Europe.
But when I said that, a lot of people didn't agree with me. 2-3 years ago.
Yeah.
I think now they're starting to agree more and more. But I always say it's because of the rules. The 3 seconds in the paint is huge. I don't think people realize how huge that is. Because when I'm isoing, I watch the defender in the paint, so he gotta go out at some point. So when he's going out, I try to text. So that's a huge difference.
I mean, if Larry Bird in the early 80s was a walking 24-10 versus bigs in the paint who could camp it, what do you do in this era with a wide open paint that had a 3-second rule? And once again, looking back at that idiotic stat by ESPN, those types of funky stats, meaningless longevity stats.
And it's not even just a 3-second rule. Today's big men want to be point guards. So you got big men that's sitting out on the perimeters when opposed to being down low. You see what I'm saying? So when you got that takes a center out the paint. Now that gives you free leeway to the paint. Because you got a center out there on the perimeter having to guard another center because he wants to shoot threes. He wants to be Steph Curry.
Social media eats those up every day of the week. And like I said earlier, Larry Bird, when it comes to all-time scoring, he ranks 44th currently. And by the end of the 2030s, Giannis will pass him, Dame will pass him, Beal, PG, Anthony Davis, even Kyrie Irving. When this decade's over, Larry Bird will be top 50 in scoring. And despite that, will still be a top 10 player all time. Like I've said in numerous videos, when it comes to peak versus longevity, a player's peak is much more precise for judging how good they were and how effective they were as an NBA superstar. Someone's longevity, I mean, to a certain extent, a good picture of them, but not the greatest way to evaluate a player and judge their career. So that right there is the end of the video. As always, thank you guys for watching. Hope you enjoyed it.
So that's something like I say, I need somebody, I need to debate, man. You know what I mean? I'm looking forward to this because watching these videos are giving me a lot more of a perspective of the game from back then. But I ain't gonna talk y'all too much in this outro, man. If you did enjoy this video, do me a big favor, man. Smash that thumbs up button. Also, if you're new to the channel, make sure you subscribe. When you subscribe, make sure that my notification bell is on it where you be notified on all things Rob Sports Center. Because just like I say in each and every outro, just like the GOAT Drizzy Drake, man, I'm coming back to back with these videos. I'll see y'all in the next video.